with me all through the night. Turn it out, close to you. I feel good, 'cause I just know feeling of you. Give it to me, baby. Feel alright. I feel good.
Chris, how's it going, man? Alright, see, I was only like a half hour late. That's not that bad. I finally managed to get that game downloaded. Took a while. Oh shit! That's crazy. We still going? Forgot it was a long stream today. Okay. All good, all good, all good. We'll lock in. It's fine. Basic. Oh, that's not. Basil. Oh, thank God. Whew. Wallflower, how's it going? I'm good too, Chris. I'm good too. Thank you for asking. Good, good. Woke up at like 10 o'clock today. Nice. Bench. Okay, a rack, weights, bench, bar, things you'd have in a gym. Image, a still image, a shot, and a frame. The next month and a half is going to be extremely annoying. I'm moving back east, so a lot of packing has to be done and I'll be absent from some streams. No worries, Chris. I appreciate you letting me know, alright? No worries. Are you moving a decent ways? Because the way you say out east makes me think like you're moving states. Lead. Head. Chair. Run. Nailed. Crowd channel kite couch. California back to Virginia? Bro, why are you leaving Cali? Unlikely, rare. Develop, enhance. That's not a spell. Rare, enhance. Rare. What's it called? Family and work. Growth, rare. Growth, rare. How do you... It's two. Change is like... Prove. Oh, wow. That was a good word. That was a good word. Improve rare. Improve change. Improve hand. Rare. Can you guys tell? I'm so a little foggy. Like, I could take a nap now. I could take a nap. I woke up like 3 hours. Absurd. Absurd. Rarity, chance. Chance enhancement luck. Difficulty improve. Discipline. Difficulty change. What the fuck could this be? I'm thinking like metaphorically. I think like definitionally. Hard. Accomplish. Cat. Work. I need to, okay, in my head, okay, I figured that out. In my head, I need to constantly, like, as I put down a word and it makes a link, I need to just think of the definition of the word. That's going to help me so much. Because I think my problem is I start thinking like metaphorical definitions, which obviously the game doesn't take into account. Nope. Making that idiot. He's coming here. Oh, this is such a mind fuck because the black, because Team Black is on this side. This is so if I go here, this takes. It's such a mind fuck. Is this better? I don't know. What the fuck is going on here? Harsh, how's it going, man? That was not the right thing. Kinda nuts. I go here, he goes here, I go here, he goes here, here? Or I could just take that. See it? Fuck. 16. I'm getting worse at puzzles. Cringe. Alright, you want to see me drop down below 800 again? The fuck is that move? I only saw the knight it was attacking, not the queen. Fucked up. Oh, that was so dumb. It was so... Like, legitimately, I don't know how to not lose this immediately, dumb. Queen, how's it going? I honestly I don't know. Don't ask, I don't know. I don't know what's happening. Wish I could tell you. No fucking clue, okay? Wow. That's the worst game I've had in a long time. No, I finally got it. Queen, I got it downloaded now. I got it downloaded. When do you intend to stream it? Because I'll be busy for a few hours. All good, Queen. I'm probably gonna do it a little bit later in the day. It's all good. I'll ping you when I start. All good. I'm gonna stream for a couple hours and then I'm... for now. Let's do that. This is genuinely impressive how bad this game has been. Like, actually. Like, I'm sleepy and I'm not really paying that much attention. But even then, this is, like, genuinely, like, disgusting to see. What the fuck? I go here, he takes... I go here, he goes back here. Extra to 2 things, I'm cooked. And my last chance of being able to do something decent, I don't know, this pawn making a queen or something is gone. I'm like, this game is genuinely horrifying. I'm down 15 points of material and 25 turns. I'm losing like... I don't know, half a point a turn on average. Like, this is like 7.75 a turn. Like, genuinely impressive at how shit that is. Dude, imagine I time him out. Fucking imagine he would genuinely kill himself. I wouldn't even mind the title of Timeout Merchant after that. Écoutez mon cœur. Yeah, I've already accepted the loss here, so at this point I'm just fighting for Hail Marys. That's sad. That night was like the last chance I had at something good happening. It was like, you know, at 800, the chance that you'll fuck up how to calculate how the night moves is not insignificant. I did not play really well, and I was not close to winning low bro at all. How many blunders? That must have been like genuinely like 5 blunders. That was genuinely like I actually really like my setup here. I genuinely like my setup here. And it's like, okay, what the fuck is it? Like, but I think if I just go like here, I take, he takes. Nah, that's not. I do this. Damn, that would have been such a cool. Oh, that would have been so cool. What? Oh, that would have been so cool. Okay, I gotta remember. Okay. I gotta remember that for. Oh, wow, that's so cool. What the fuck? Genuinely, that's really cool. Okay. Alright, let's start reading. Fuck, we gotta read quite a bit today. God, why did I make that promise? Fuck. Fuck. I gotta stop making fucking chapter promises the day before. It's so fucking dumb. Yeah, genuinely, time to lock in. It's almost 2 p.m. I can't be streaming for like 3 hours. Okay, I gotta go. How did you know I was here? Madam Justice's voice held a smile. Can't hurt to extend an invitation, Lumin gazed. Congratulations on completing the initial phase of your vendetta. Care for a brief discussion? Susie asked. No problem. Lumin's composure remained unshaken, not even flinching at vendetta. Of course, part of his calm demeanor stemmed from the fact that he hadn't brought along the flogged boxing gloves, a psychological evaluation after all. He couldn't allow external influences to taint his thoughts and skew the doctor's judgment. From the point of seeking assistance and crafting a strategy, he recounted his experience of the past couple of days, glossing over the secret of the curly-haired baboon society but provided account of everything else. Your mental state has held up admirably, Susie said. A state of degree of overreaction in specific scenarios is par for the course. Therapy doesn't strip a person of their emotions or feelings. Instead, it aids in unburdening yourself, fostering reconciliation and discovering inner resilience. Nightmares won't deal a devastating blow to you any longer. Otherwise, according to your more dubious therapists who advocate for severing the frontal lobe for eternal tranquility, you will be at peace. Removing the frontal lobe? Lumin's ears caught wind of this for the first time. It's a notion that has cropped up over the last couple of years. It doesn't yield the intended outcomes, rather inflicts grave harm upon the patient. There's an evident malevolence behind this proposal. It's as if some callous individuals propagated it with the sole intention of making a mockery of our profession. A prank that toys with the lives of others? Hold on, let me cook. Dude, let me cook? Oh, it might be the April Fool's people. Let me cook. This might work. Hold on. This might work with my strategy. This might be the April Fool's people just fucking people over for the fun of it. Because it's... Think about it. The April Fools, my theory was the April Fools group is literally just playing pranks and just for the shits and giggles. Like, they don't give a shit who they hurt. They're just doing like funny shit. And they're like, yeah, fuck it. What do I care? Right? Like, the most kind of, unlawful, would it be like unlawful neutral or whatever? Or maybe it'd be like malicious compliance, like giving people what they want, but not explaining like the consequences or what, I don't know, right? Whatever. Like that would work with my theory that the April Fool's people are like, I'm not gonna say, I mean maybe bad people, but they're like, they're uncaring about others. They just literally do shit that's funny, and they're like, fuck it, I don't care. Madam Susie, you haven't even delved into my emotions or analyzed my thoughts, yet you've already deduced that I've made some strides towards recovery, and that a follow-up may not be necessary? Queen, okay, so slight spoilers, I guess? Do you want to know? I can tell you. It's very minor spoilers, mind you, but I can tell you. Madam Susie, you haven't even delved into my... Oh, no. Hold on. At times, a person's actions... I don't care about spoilers. Okay, dope. So, you remember in volume... I don't know, 7 or 8? Klein releases all of the cocoons, like of the transmigrators in Sephira Castle. So, it seems all of those transmigrators got together and they made a group. They made like a organization. Because, you know, they're the only ones who can kind of reconcile with each other to a degree. So they called it the Curly-Haired Baboon Society. And so a part of that group is, well, you made at the end of, okay. As part of that group, there seems to be like a smaller sub-faction, Research Society, sorry. There seems to be like a sub-faction that calls themselves April Fools. And my theory is that group is just like people who are just like, again, malicious compliance. Like they'll do pranks just at the cost of other people with like no, care as to how they're hurting people just because they're having fun. The name kind of seems to suggest it. Some things that have happened in the story seem to vaguely hint at it. I'm taking a guess here. I don't know. At times, a person's actions can be more telling of their psychological state than their thoughts. Understand that humans excel at deceiving themselves. They concoct a slew of rationale from their actions, which often stand less grounded in reality than their deeds. To decipher an accurate psychological trait from this labyrinth of complex and contradictory thoughts requires meticulous analysis, but such scrutiny can easily unearth problems. Hence, I chose to commence with an examination of your actions. Whether you choose to admit it or not, you've successfully reestablished social connections and fostered a level of trust in others. You've also exhibited a willingness to extend your trust to others. Prior to your ambush of Benet, you demonstrated the capacity for calm contemplation and thorough preparation. While there were impulsive undertones and hints of macabre inclinations in your operation, they were inevitable. Their absence would also hint at a more severe psychological turmoil, and once the affair concluded, you swiftly reverted to your norm and dived back into your life. Grounded in the sequence of your actions, I extend my congratulations. The pronounced self-destructive tendencies have lost their grip, and you have truly extricated yourself from the abyss of agony. Naturally, the pain won't dissipate entirely. It will wane and recede. Perhaps it may even resurge abruptly, once again occupying your mind, yet there is no need to succumb to panic. Armed with this period of experience, I trust you to navigate it adeptly. Psychologically speaking, this signals a path to recovery. They're your typical isekai protagonist, true. Listen, they're not even real people to me, okay? They're just like, this is a fictional world. They're all like NPCs. Who really cares what happens to them? Fuck them, that's what I say. In similar fashion, your past invariably leaves its imprint upon us. Your self-destructive propensities, your extremities, your pathological behaviors, no doubt, they're more potent than in most, but they all abide by the bounds of reason and normalcy. I sense it myself, honestly, Lumion sighed. The present me is entirely different from the one who set foot in Trier initially. Thank you, Madam Susie. Thank you, Madam Justice. They don't go after underage girls. Okay, that's not all isekai, that's just the most popular one. That doesn't really help, does it? In essence, this is your own redemption, Susie said. The primary contributor to this turnaround was none other than yourself and your sister. Were it not for the tiniest ember of hope that you harbored, coupled with your will to persist, were it not for Miss Aurora gifting you nearly 6 years of cherished memories, we may not have been able to reel you back. As Lumen processed these words, a montage of scenes flickered across his mind, Aurora inhaling deeply, using breaths to temper the vexation derived from instructing him. The tempestuous storm of combat training coupled with her impromptu attacks. the two of them ensconced in study, each absorbed in their respective books. Lumien's expression softened as he recollected a line from his sister's novel. The joy and pain of days past are equal to the me of the present. Were last night's nightmares all rooted in the King's Pie game? Lumien asked. Indeed, considering your present situation, it's likely that you were corrupted during that time. Corruption? Does it involve beyonder powers? Ordinarily, the simple act of sacrificing a king's pie wouldn't have yielded any results, or the game wouldn't have remained a popular tradition in Intes for centuries, fading into obscurity. Yes, that's what I assumed back then. Puffer didn't employ any mystical language or invoke a complete honorific name. It's impossible for a sacrifice to succeed. Nevertheless, exceptions exist. Sacrificers who share blood ties with the subject can exhibit numerous similarities. If you participate frequently in Puffer's game and repeatedly endure the mental corruption, the ramifications won't dissolve with a mere spate of nightmare. Rather, before they fully dissolve, they will progressively wrap your psyche and lead you to madness. Could the contents of these nightmares be symbolic? Lumien asked. It's highly probable that they're a fusion of specific deranged occurrences from your past projected into your dreamscape through a taint of corruption. So that Castle and the deranged individuals could exist? Didn't I mention previously that I might require your assistance with something? Madam Justice took the lead. Of course, no problem, Lumien agreed. He considered the cost of his treatment. Moreover, he held the belief that Madam Justice wouldn't entrust him with the task without assessing his capabilities. Should you succeed, I will bestow another reward on you, one that will cater to your requirements in a specific manner. Something capable of altering my appearance? Lumien asked. Something along those lines, Miss Justice spoke. I'm hoping you can venture to an ancient tomb situated on the 4th floor of the Trier catacombs, specifically to retrieve a vial of Samaritan women's spring for me. Wait, is she gonna give him lie? That's the pendant or necklace or whatever, right? It's called... Is she gonna give him lie? I mean, I guess she doesn't need it anymore. Her psychological invisibility at this point is incredible. Madame Hella had previously mentioned it as well. This is too much of a coincidence. Madame Justice chimed in with a smile. Don't you find it too coincidental? Yes, that's what I'm hoping for, is that you can leverage Madame Hella's exploration to assist me in securing some Samaritan women's spring water. Doing so may yield slim chances of success. In truth, I could arrange for you to undertake this task with a more clandestine manner, but that approach contradicts my philosophy. I still require face-to-face communication with you and your explicit consent. I am disinclined to ensnare you passively through covert cues to fulfill my objective. I love how Audrey in the nicest way is like, listen, you can either do it with my blessing and I give you a reward, or I make you do it and you do it for free. I prefer the first, because I don't like to do that stuff, but like, I can, don't make me. Lumien's skepticism and doubts ebbed away. Madam Justice, given that you possess a general awareness of this spring's location, why not retrieve it yourself? Why a mere Sequence 7 like me? Miss Justice laughed. To put it succinctly, certain locales become more hazardous with an increase in sequence. As sequence rises, proximity to the oldest one increases, accumulating more madness along the way. Consequently, individuals in higher sequences are more susceptible to particular forms of corruption. Ella is also beneficial in this manner. At least, this approach will save her time and permit her to narrow down the search to a designated area. After a brief contemplation, Lumien agreed to Madam Justice's request. From her, he gleaned the approximate location of the woman's spring. Following the session, Lumien made his way back to Rue de Bleu Blanche, his objective being the retrieval of the boxing gloves. Upon his arrival, an odd inkling set upon him. Someone had infiltrated his safe house. Lumien's heart tightened as he advanced with purpose. What am I putting on, Kami? Anything else? Ooh. While observing that Aurora's grimoire and the gloves remained, he sighed. However, he proceeded to conduct a thorough investigation. One article was conspicuously absent. The Earth blood ore was gone. Looking at the open iron cabinet, Lumion found it absurd and surreal. The thief had entered the house without taking the most valuable glove, nor did they flip through Aurora's grimoire. It seemed they only took a mineral specimen. Disregarding the trap, if the thieves truly were a beyonder of the Marauder pathway, he wouldn't have given up on the boxing gloves. If it were just an ordinary thief, he wouldn't have taken the ore. He might have casually thrown the seemingly worthless item to the ground. Tell me, Boris, who stole the ore? Lumion couldn't help but ask. I don't know. Termi Boris's magnificent voice resounded. Doesn't know. That answer is fucking meaningless, but coming from Termi Boris, it means many things. While Termi Boris was in Lumion's power, he couldn't exert direct influence. But as an angel of the inevitability domain, he possessed an uncanny ability to detect problems and traces. And yet now he claimed ignorance. This revelation carried a weight, suggesting that whoever stole the ore was no ordinary individual. I have to write a letter and inform Madame Magician. After all, she once predicted that the Earth Blood ore would bring me some misfortune, but the item is lost before the misfortune. Lumion had initially hesitated. And they're finally home and out of the woods. Nice, Sooth, how's it going? Lumion had initially hesitated to burden his Major Arcana card holder with this, as he didn't attach much value to the mineral, its applications limited. In the world of mysticism, negligence often leads to such problems. Truth be told, Lumion didn't harbor any anger over the loss of the possession, nor did he feel compelled to retrieve it. The ore may lead to a fortuitous encounter, but it remained an abstract concept. Moreover, Madame Magician's warning of misfortune made him view it as a means to mitigate risk. Lumion meticulously inspected the safe house once more, confirming that none of the traps he had laid had been triggered. Only the ore had vanished. This time, Lumion wrote a letter and summoned Miss Madame's messenger. The messenger displayed less frigid demeanor. There's indeed something amiss in this matter. In mere minutes, a response arrived. I can't identify the thief either. If you're not fearful, you can venture to the entrance of Sol de Bal Unique and seek anyone with a monocle. Even if they aren't culprits, they should possess knowledge of it. If you find it too risky, exercise patience. Someone will inquire on your behalf. Amon took it, of course. Sol de Bal Unique. That makes sense. The sequence preceding a swindler's marauder. Could those monocle-wearing individuals hold sway over the thieves wielding that sequence in Trier? Aurora's grimoire had mentioned that Marauder occupied sequence 9 on the pathway, whilst Marauder was above Swindler and further up was Cryptologist. After careful consideration, Lumion opted to wait for someone to inquire on his behalf. The thought of the Sol de Bal Unique, Monet, the monocle-wearing swindler, and the swindlers who emulated his style sent shivers down his spine. After burning the letter, Lumion shifted his attention to the iron cabinet, the repository of Aurora's grimoire, the gloves, and various items. The once secure safe house had become compromised. I'll take the gloves with me and carry the rest if I can. I'll sell what's sellable, if not, I'll secure another safe house. For Aurora's grimoire and the gold, I'll rent an anonymous safe house at a large bank. When the property's current lease expires, I won't renew. His plan encompassed the items he couldn't transport or wish to part with, which preliminarily included the 5 hides, in addition to Aurora's grimoire and his gold. With these concentrations in mind, Lumion began drafting a letter to Hela. In this letter, he revealed the acquired information about the approximate location of the Samaritan Women's Spring through a secretive channel. Mon's fucking with the MC again. Truly the go. He decided, I don't really have a problem with you. We're not even of pathways that I can get anything out of you. But for the sheer fucking pleasure of it, boys, I do this not because it is easy, but because it is difficult. As Lumion was writing, he felt a sense of puzzlement. It seemed unnecessary for him to be directly involved when he could have entrusted Hela with the task of obtaining the spring water. Madame Justice should have considered this. Why am I required to descend into the 4th level of the catacombs myself? For the love of the game, baby! Is it because of the perceived difficulty Hela may encounter? She needs my assistance? But what's so special about me? Madame Hella's sequence is relatively high. It's relatively dangerous for her to approach, and she'll be prone to madness. I personally believe that Madame Hella was at least a sequence 4, or I previously believed that Madame Hella was at least a sequence 4, claiming that she could resolve the Cordu problem before the descent ritual, but now it appears she hasn't ascended to demigodhood, or she wouldn't be able to enter the 4th level of the catacombs, let alone approach the Women's Spring. Does she possess a grade 1 artifact or an item equivalent to a saint? After continuing to write, Lumion continued the information providers requested as a pretext to express his personal desire. Before long, a messenger arrived from Hela. No problem, I'll meet you at the gates of the Death Empire at 4 p.m. tomorrow. Death Empire. Lumion exhaled, his body trembling with a mix of excitement and trepidation. His adventurous spirit and penchant for experimentation had always defined him. The bizarre vanishing of the couples in the catacombs had etched a profound mark on his psyche. In the next morning, Rue de Fontaine, Lumion dutifully arrived at Martner Garten's villa and reported the details of the meeting with Count Pouffeur. Inside, Martin, unusually excited, spoke with a hint of joy. Despite your claim of lacking artistic inclination, your background allows you to converse with them effectively. That's why I chose you. I was concerned you may not exhibit enough generosity, but you handled it admirably, even sponsoring them 4,000 World d'Or. Martin, the CEO of the Iron and Blood Cross Order, implied that Lumion's status as the younger brother of the best-selling author Aurora Lee, even without artistic inclination, provided him with a wealth of insider knowledge. Lumion, however, didn't waste any time and cut to the point. What I don't understand is why that game gave me a sense of danger. I even had a few nightmares. Because Pouffeur is quite unique, bearing a striking resemblance to his ancestor, Vermonda. They share a strong blood connection, allowing them to bypass many crucial steps for a ritual. His ancestor has become an evil spirit? How can he still accept sacrifices after centuries? That's something you should investigate. Don't worry, as long as you don't participate in the game every 2 or 3 days, the only after effect you'll experience is those nightmares. Keep that sense of danger intact and become a king. It's easier for you to become a king than anyone else, except Pouffeur himself, of course. If you're uncertain about making the right choice, let Pouffeur choose first. The Iron and Blood Cross Order wants to find the whereabouts of Vermonda, who's been missing for centuries. Why didn't they warn me about the dangers before? Lumion suspected that Martin hadn't mentioned to confirm a crucial matter. In the afternoon, near the Trier Opera House, Franca and Jenna, wearing half masks, once again met the warlock in a black robe. The one who had previously commissioned the investigation of the disappearance of the cloister's gatekeepers. What was your thoughts on the nightmares? I might be dumb as fuck, but I honestly don't remember it, bro. I know there was like a beige castle, but I legitimately don't remember shit beyond that. Oh, that's not good. We've made some progress in our investigation regarding the disappearance of the gatekeepers. We wish to discuss it with you. Very well. Their iron-masked skeletal escort led them, along with the client, into a secluded conversation room. Within an hour, until their agreed meeting time, Lumion equipped himself with a carbide lamp and entered the market district's corresponding entrance to underground Trier. And Maid with no head pouring tree. Oh, yes, you're right. Castle with a bunch of people dying. I don't know. The castle with a bunch of people dying, I think, could be like the Sauron family, you know, slowly dying due to some fucking problems. Maybe it's the war. Maybe it's just their lack of strong beyonders. I have no idea. Maybe it's like a metaphorical thing. The lady with the bloody head, with the no head. Wait, a maid with no head. I don't know. That part I don't. What I immediately get is that Vermonda is clearly unhappy about the state of his family and wishes to bring them back to glory. Does that make any sense? I don't fucking know. Fuck you guys. The carbide lamp emitted a bluish-yellow light, casting an eerie glow over the tunnel. Lumion strolled casually, carrying a black canvas bag that had become popular amongst university students. Inside stashed the flogged boxing gloves. After conducting numerous experiments, Lumion had discovered that carrying them in a bag was less risky than tucking them into a shirt or pant pocket. Music change? Sounds good. As he followed the route marked on Martin's map, leading him towards the underground of Quartier de l'Observatoire, Lumion's ears perked up, listening for any approaching footsteps. A cacophony of footsteps echoed in the air. Lumion scanned the path ahead into his route, unsure of which path the unidentified group would take. To remain inconspicuous, he clambered up on a stone pillar, extinguished the lamp, and disappeared into the shadows. Before long, a group of men emerged, most of them wearing tattered jackets or shirtless, hunched over while carrying heavy crates. Over a dozen men, dressed in well-worn attire, holding various firearms. Smugglers, Lumion peered out. I assume these are like Christo's guys. Examining the crates, illuminated by the smuggler's light, they appeared to emit a metallic gleam. Firearms or something else. Oh shit, no. Fuck. Whew. Hopefully that doesn't monetize. We will find out. It was like 4 seconds. As they advanced, possibly due to a shadow that moved too much like a human. Turn on monitor. Yeah, it's not about getting demonetized on a video comment. I mean the channel. As they advanced, possibly due to a shadow that moved too much like a human, one of the smugglers raised his guns and took aim and fired. With a resounding bang, the alarm ceased and the group pressed on. Lumion clicked his tongue and shook his head, finding the reaction overly tense. Yeah, exactly. In underground Trier, such reactions could easily lead to trouble. It was well known that aside from university students exploring and citizens cultivating mushrooms to eke out a living, most individuals venturing underground were not to be underestimated. The chances of encountering Beyonders was significantly higher than above ground. With this in mind, Lumion drew his revolver and squeezed the trigger in the direction of the smuggling caravan. He wasn't aiming at anyone, just firing into the air. The smugglers either spun around or scrambled for cover, unleashing a barrage of bullets, but Lumion was no longer concerned. He had already scaled the rock wall, almost reaching the top. After exchanging gunfire with the empty air for a brief moment, the smugglers shifted their positions nervously. Lumion observed their backs and couldn't help but smile. No need for the thanks, consider it a free lesson. Smelling the lingering scent of gunpowder, Lumion grinned and holstered his revolver before continuing. A few minutes later, coming across a group of Quarry police officers. The officers led the group upon seeing Lumion's youthful appearance and well-dressed and attire and backpack slung. He muttered, "Son of a bitch, another fucking college student." Did you hear anything I just said now? There's a gunfight over there. Wanted to go over there and take a look, but I didn't dare, Lumion replied. The Quarry police officers exchanged glances and swiftly passed Lumion. In the conversation room, observing the host's departure, the warlock turned to Franca and Jenna. What did you discover? As I mentioned, I need to find the gatekeeper's remains to claim his reward. We haven't thought about payment yet. We believe the situation is more complex than you described. One night, we infiltrated the quarry. Upon hearing the term, the man suddenly lifted his gaze. Franca observed his body language. She had consulted with Anthony Reed and knew the kind of subconscious reactions ordinary humans would exhibit. The man's reactions suggested that he was highly sensitive to the mention of the Deep Valley Quarry. Only someone aware of the issue would react this way. Jenna continued to recount their discoveries. Pushkar, how's it going, man? The warlock-dressed man remained composed, making absolutely no unnecessary movements, but to Franca, this indicated that he understood the abnormality within the quarry. After hearing Jenna's accounts, the man raised his voice. I can't confirm if it's related to the disappearance, but if you can enter the cave, take a few photos, or retrieve valuable items, I will offer half payment up front. Perhaps you can find some clues about the gatekeeper's whereabouts. Do you take us for fools? You expect us to take such a risk for 10,000 Vril d'Or? Halt. The Death Empire lies ahead. Lumion once again found himself standing in front of the natural arc adorned with a peculiar mix of white bones, sunflowers, and steam symbols carved into the stone. By the way, can I just say, I also thought about this, just under D&D session. Oh, nice. I was also thinking about this. I didn't realize it, but COI is also mirroring Lord of the Mysteries in like a volume structure. Kind of, where Volume 1 was in like a small town. Volume 2, he goes to like a big town, the capital, back on Trier. Volume 3, I guess he didn't travel anywhere. Volume 2 ending was honestly genuinely, slogfest. I'm assuming soon. Lumion will go out traveling. Like, I guess, I mean, maybe like maybe he doesn't want to like do the same thing again. So like, he won't go be a fucking bounty hunter, but like, maybe he'll like travel around by train or some shit. I don't fucking know. Lumion once again found himself standing in front of the natural arc. Before he could reach for his pockets, before he could reach for a pocket watch he had borrowed from Saul de Balbry to check time, Hela appeared. Since you're already here, let's proceed ahead of schedule, the woman nodded. Very well. Lumion opened his bag and produced 2 white candles. He handed one to Hela and said, "Aren't you worried that the information I received is incorrect?" "Success comes after numerous failures," Hela replied. "I thought you might say that failure is the mother of success." "This isn't the society," Hela replied tersely. Lumion didn't waste any more time, extinguishing his lamp and advancing forward, clutching the white candle, its flame now an intense orange. As expected, a figure emerged from the shadows. The figure sported a blue vest and yellow pants, grey hair and a few wrinkles. An old man. "Didn't you find a guide?" the old man asked, looking at Lumion. Not you guys?" Lumion glanced at Jen out of the corner of his eye and realized that the candlelight around her had dimmed, as if corroded by the darkness. In this state, she appeared to have vanished from the administrator's view. "I don't require a guide," Lumion said. "I've been to the tomb many times." "Oh, Hela." Sorry. "I've been to the tomb many times. Though I'm more accustomed to entering through Quartier de la Cathédrale Commémorative, I remember all the taboos. You college students, remember, exit before your candle burns out." With that, he stepped aside and disappeared into the darkness. "Why did you hold a lit white candle?" He turned to the aged tomb administrator. "I'm just stationed by the entrance, not venturing too deep." "Is that so?" Lumion, who had already entered the catacombs, rationally abandoned any further inquiry, focusing on the chill in his heart. He couldn't help but sense a resemblance between the tomb administrator's current aura and Hela's presence. Under the watchful gaze of the corpses in the stone pits, Lumion pressed through the musty air, walking alongside Hela. Hela broke the silence. Which level are we heading to?" Are you gonna... no, I'm gonna make them later, Pushkar, because I just... like, there's so much information I don't know. Like, I wanted to make a video about Azek, but then I don't know if he's gonna show up here and we learn more about him, see what he's up to, see how he's doing. I just don't know. Like, I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place at this point. The only way out is finishing COI. Compared to the previous... wait, hold on. The 4th level, Lumion replied. Hela nodded once and picked up her pace, striding ahead of Lumion. By the way, if you make a video, would you separate them into the... yeah, I would probably do, like, the first part, which I would assume be, like, let's say if we're doing a character overview, I would be like, hey, spoilers up until the end of Lord of the Mysteries, and then, like, up at, like, 2/3 or whatever, I'd be like, okay, now we're gonna get into COI stuff, so if you haven't read COI and finished it, leave now. Not cover up to the end of... and then just continue on, if that makes sense. Like, with the video chapters or whatever. I think they're called chapters, right? Hella nodded and picked up her pace. She seemed intimately familiar with the first level of the catacombs, leading Lumion to a staircase that descended down to the second level. Compared to the previous level, there were far fewer tourists here. Occasionally they encountered university students singing, dancing, or testing their courage. Hella showed no signs of stopping. Soon, Lumion spotted a weathered stone door. In Intesian, above the stone door it read, "Entrance to the Old Ossuary." Down here we enter the third level. Just beyond the door is the sun and steam altar. Keep walking until you reach the Crismona Night Pillar, and that's where we enter the fourth level, Hella explained. Do you have a map of the catacombs? Hella shook her head. I know less the deeper we go. From the third level on, you have to rely on the road signs and maps. Lumion chose not to press the matter further. With Hella leading the way, they crossed the threshold of the old ossuary and descended down the staircase. Upon reaching the third level, they encountered a flickering candlelight and a makeshift altar. The candle's flame belonged to a young woman. Upon spotting Lumion and Hella, belonged to a young man. Upon spotting Lumion and Hella, he rushed over. My friends, they vanished, just like that. Bro, you're in the third level of the Forsaken Catacombs, and you're like, oh my god, people disappeared? Yeah, no shit, idiot. This guy, these are the people that, like, you watch in, like, fucking Christ. Whew, saved it. These are the people you watch immediately die in horror movies. Like, you guys have no survival instincts at all. Jesus, fuck, bro. His friends vanished? Lumion, clutching a white candle, watched as the young man dashed over. He wasn't a tomb administrator, nor did he have an angel locked within. Any anomaly that occurred meant that something had happened. Stop! Lumion drew his revolver with his right hand and pointed at the man. Help! Save me! They've all vanished! He slowed down slightly, but didn't stop. Lumion pulled the trigger of his revolver, sending a bullet grazing through the lad's body. Sensing Lumin's determination to stop him, the lad finally stopped. Save me! Save me! What happened? Lumion asked. As he spoke, he used the candle flame in the trio's hand to survey the environment on the third level of the catacombs. Unlike the first two levels, which were surrounded by white bones and corpses, this level had a small square devoid of corpses. The square was paved with mottled cobblestones with no moss or soil in the crevices. It was unbelievably clean. Two greyish-white pillars made of boulders stood on either sides, their surface severely weathered. Even so, Lumion with his keen eyesight discovered the sacred sun emblem and the triangular sacred emblem engraved onto the pillars. Around the square, where candlelight couldn't penetrate, the darkness was dense. The man spoke. I don't know. We were just about to leave when the altars of EBS and God of Steam and Machinery stand to explore the ancient tomb on the third level. Suddenly, they stumbled over something and fell, one by one. Even the candles in their hands fell to the ground and went out. I was at the back and just saw them vanish. Are you college students? Lumion asked. Yes, we're students from Trier Normal College. We formed a team to adventure here. My name is Gerard. Lumion couldn't help but chuckle. He even considered inviting Gerard to join him and Hella in their search for the Samaritan Women's Spring. After all, the chance of a student like him surviving until graduation seemed slim. It might be more useful as bait. After a few minutes, Hella spoke. We'll escort you back. That's surprisingly kind. His expression of this lady was that even her blood ran cold. Gerard was so grateful that tears and snot streamed down his face. Lumion observed his every move. He retrieved a white candle from his canvas bag and tossed it over. Desperately, Gerard caught it and lit the new candle with the old one, which only had a small segment left. Seeing the flickering candlelight, the college student breathed a sigh of relief and followed them up the staircase. Just as he took 10 steps up, Gerard was stunned. Lumion looked over and noticed the lingering fear on his face disappeared. Will it be a problem for you to return by yourself? Hella asked again. No problem. Thank you for the candle. Did you venture to the third level? Of course. Did you venture to the 3rd level alone? Lumion asked. Of course, I possess enough courage and experience. He forgot about his schoolmates. Did he not forget because he was at the sacrificial square? Did Hela notice that, thereby suggesting to escort him? So whoever dies here or something happens, they just get erased. That's giving me spectator vibes. I don't know. Does that make any sense? They can just psychologically cue you to forget you had those friends? Does that make any sense? After watching Gerard ascend the stairs and leave through the entrance, Lumion and Hela returned to the sacrificial square. This time, Lumion looked at the 2 pillars representing the EBS and the god of steam and machinery. Even with the deity's gaze and protection, the pillars inevitably showed signs of weathering and corrosion. Lumion believed that more protection meant greater confidence. Facing the pillar, engraved with the sun emblem, he said, "Praise the sun!" Hela watched silently, not interrupting. After Lumion finished, the 2 of them made their way to the Crismona Night Pillar. Lumion, holding a white candle, you hear about anti-memetics? I know the term memetics, I can't place it right now. Memetics. Oh, the study of memes. Okay, that's what it is. Thank you. No, I don't think I know what anti-memetics is. Starting to believe Lumion's theory that the churches let people in here for a few... Yeah, I mean, maybe. Lumion only took a few steps away from the square when his heart stirred. At some point, a skeleton, covered in dark green mold, had collapsed by the road, the bones in its hands laid across the road, as if wanting to grab a passerby's ankles. If Lumion had walked faster and failed to observe, he might have been tripped over the corpse. This instantly reminded him of Gerard's description. Did they trip over these bones? Amidst the clanking sound, he and Hela continued over, kicking over the hand bone. After a few steps, they encountered another white bone skeleton, its body laying on the road. If you look into anti-memetics, you'll know what the pathway is to cause here. How does... Okay. Lumion frowned and instinctively looked back at the spot where he had almost tripped. The dim candlelight barely reached there, but Lumion could make out the details with his eyesight. They're still alive? The undead creatures? Lumion asked. No, it's a possibility, Hela replied succinctly. They must have been affected by the environment deep within the catacombs and are exhibiting abnormalities. When the hidden danger and horrors in the environment erupt, it's likely they will turn into undead creatures. All of them? Whether complete or incomplete, there were at least 1 million skeletons on this level. It might even be an order of magnitude more. If they all became undead with a hatred for the living, the situation would be terrifying. Sensing Hela had no intention of turning back, Lumion continued following. After some time, they reached the Crismona Night Pillar. It was a colossal pillar made of black marble, its upper end reaching the cave ceiling. In the sacrificial square, the 2 stone pillars symbolizing EBS and God of Steam and Machinery had been weathered. Is this pillar more special than the others? It held no signs of weathering or corrosion. Crismona is a member of the Demoness sect, which can also be called the Demoness family. She was a Sequence 2 Demoness of Catastrophe. She perished in the War of the 4 Emperors. Apart from the Crismona Night Pillar, there was also the Marianne Night Pillar and the Louis Night Pillar on the 3rd or 4th level. Who are these 2? Marianne was the Pope of the Evernight back then, and Louis was the Ancient Blessed of Death, a death console. Their characteristics may have also been retrieved by their respective factions. As for whether other angels perished here, I do not know, but many of the angels who followed the Blood Emperor must have perished. Let's go to the 4th floor. Crismona. So she was the one that was fighting with Azek way back when? They both replaced their rapidly burning candles before descending to the third floor. Or to the fourth floor. After attending the mysticism gathering, Frank and Jenna retraced their steps to the underground area. I don't know, I'm confusing it with the Pale Disaster for some reason. Sorry, ignore me. Sorry, I'm confusing it with the Pale Disaster for some reason, I don't know. After attending the mysticism gathering, Frank and Jenna retraced their steps to the underground area corresponding to the arcade of the open house. As they turned a corner, Franka leaned over and whispered to Jenna, "Someone's following us." Someone's following us? Jenna's heart skipped a beat. Bro, honestly, I love you too, but I really don't give a shit who's following you right now, okay? Take me back. Take me back. Cringe shit. Don't make me switch POVs right now. I don't want to read this. Fuck. How can that be? Jenna exclaimed. She recollected the mysticism gathering's conclusion, where participants were dispersed via various routes at sporadic intervals. But these two had been cautious, so how could they be followed? I don't know. Perhaps it's another participant who chose this route. They may want to tail us, hoping for an opportunity to strike big. Or maybe someone with an unusual skill set. Let's keep moving forward, and if nothing's amiss, we'll be safe once we reach the street under the arcade. If they strike us before then, drop the lamp immediately and hide in the shadows. Depending on the situation, you can decide how to join the fight. Jenna nodded. Unintentionally, she tightened her grip on the lamp. The stalker has vanished. Franka spoke after another 100 or 200 meters of walking. It's possible that he found a way to bypass the spider silk I left behind. As she finished speaking, a figure emerged from the darkness ahead, illuminated by the lamp's glow. Jenna reacted swiftly, dropping the lamp in her hand and blending into the shadows. It was the man masquerading as the warlock. "I want to strike a deal with you guys," he spoke. Behind the Crismona night pillar, thank fucking Christ, Lumion trailed behind Hela, clutching a new candle that flickered in the dim light. They followed the worn steps, seemingly descending into the depths of hell. The stone walls on either side slowly gave, revealing intricate reliefs of human heads. Dark grey figures clustered together. As Lumion completed the descent and stepped onto the hushed fourth level of the catacombs, an overwhelming restlessness overcame him, as if he had been imprisoned for an eternity, yearning for freedom. This sensation wasn't familiar. It was a side effect of the Armored Shadow contract. It was as if his spirit felt trapped in this body. It sought to break free from the cage, to shatter this world and gain freedom. Even without the Alms Monk boon, he believed that he could manage these emotions. With the Alms Monk power, he could control them even better. Lumion exhaled to calm himself. According to Madame Justice, the higher one sequence, the more susceptible they are to madness. Is that what I'm experiencing? Is it because my sequence isn't high that I can endure it? Lumion looked up at Hela, her neck slender, mostly concealed in the widow-like attire's collar. Just then a thought crossed his mind, and he shook his head, dismissing the negative effects of the Obsessed Hands contract. A suitable target for snapping. Jesus. Simultaneously, he noticed Hela's face had turned pale whiter, resembling a corpse. In an instant, Hela produced a military flask, unscrewed the cap, and downed its contents. Could Hela be an alcoholic? After finishing a third of the bottle in a gulp, Hela's complexion flushed. Which way should we go? I love her. Truly, Hela is my fucking goat, okay? She's gotta join the tarot club. She's gonna be goated, okay? She has to. She joins the tarot club? That'd be so goated. Hold on. I love her. Hella supremacy, truly. It's an ancient tomb on the westernmost side, Lumion spoke. We have a general idea of the area there, but not the exact location. Hella nodded and glanced at the top of the tomb, where a thick black line was drawn with arrows pointing in various directions. Hey, I can have 2 queens, okay, Hope? Surely she doesn't die in volume 2? Oh, in 2 volumes? Nah. She lives. She's gonna... I don't know what sequence she's in. She's off, but... Or what pathway she's from. But, like... The fact that she's, like, deathly pale tells me she's either a sanguine, but she doesn't have red eyes. But I don't know if only natural born have sanguine have red eyes. Or she might be, like, a prisoner, or she might be off the death pathway. One of those 3, I think. There are hints. I think it's prisoner, death, or sanguine. Not sanguine, but you know what I'm talking about. I can't remember the sequence 9. Okay. Combining this with the signs near the entrance, Lumion could roughly discern the route leading west. Nevertheless, he pulled out a compass he had prepared earlier. It's acting crazy, Lumion commented. The compass's needle oscillating continuously. We have to rely on the signs and black lines, Hella responded. If it never stops, could it be a perpetual motion machine, he chuckled. Aren't you a believer of the EBS? Hella glanced at him. For now, I am. Hella didn't press the topic any further. The Marianne Night Pillar and the Louis Night Pillar are both on this floor. There's also Francois' tomb, the Blood Order Hall, and the Crazy Shrooms Cave. The Crazy Shrooms Cave? Whoa! The style of this name is completely different from the others, Lumion rambled. The most noticeable difference between the 4th and the 3rd floor was the absence of corpses lining the path. It was wider and cleaner, yet eerily silent. Does your mental unrest manifest in talking and rambling more? Hella remarked. Not exactly. Talking just helps me cope with the irritation, Lumion admitted. They continued to navigate Frank's Goon Cave. As Lumion passed by the partially natural tomb named the Order Hall, the outer soil tinged with a hint of blood. He suddenly spotted someone, a woman in a pale white robe, her black hair flowing down her back, and her features extraordinarily exquisite, perfectly harmonious, her aura so pure that it seemed out of place in this filth. Despite having seen a demoness of pleasure, Lumion couldn't help but be amazed. He even felt an unholy urge to ravage her. What the fuck? This was just a drawback of the Flog's boxing gloves. And Lumion snapped out of it. The woman had sparkling blue eyes, cold and lifeless. Lumion's body tensed as the woman slipped into the surrounding darkness. What are you looking at? Hella spoke. You didn't see? I didn't, indeed. But as soon as you stopped moving, I cast my gaze in that direction. Was I the only one who could see it? Was I the only one allowed to see it? Lumion couldn't be certain if it was due to Termy Boris's influence, his sequence, or his gender. Don't concern yourself. It's normal for special wraiths and evil spirits to linger in the depths of catacombs, but this place is a powerful seal. As long as you don't break the rules or trigger an anomaly, you should be fine. I was just thinking, ordinary tourists and adventurous college students wouldn't be able to pass through the 3rd level. Why would they produce the guiding lines and accurate road signs? Who are they for? Official Beyonders who come here regularly to clean up, and tomb administrators who patrol this area every day. Just finished watching you finish Volume 6? Oh shit, MX! Nice! Based on your description, the female figure you saw earlier resembles a high-ranking demoness. Could it be the lingering vengeful spirit of Crismona? I'm not sure, Hella replied. He noticed a purplish red patch on the back of Hella's right hand. It hadn't been there before. resembling a livor mortis seen on the deceased. Okay, she's off the death pathway. It's basically confirmed at this point. Amidst his babbling, he meandered through the unmarked tombs, eventually reaching the westernmost area. At the edge of the rock wall, dozens, possibly hundreds, of ancient tombs stretched out of sight. As Lumin was about to ask Hela if she could expedite the search, he heard knocking from a tomb nearby. They both tensed, their eyes fixed on the tomb, as most of its damaged stone walls crumbled. What if it's a death path artifact? In Hanston? Maybe. And the problem is we haven't seen anything. We haven't seen any of her powers. We haven't seen her talk about her power. Like, we don't know that much about her. So, like, I can only go off of the information that I have. So, technically what you're saying is very plausible. I just don't have any indication of any other powers she may have. Alright, so I'm gonna go with that for now. A figure emerged, hunched over. Lumin tensed, wanting to unleash a fireball, but restrained himself. The man who crawled out held a white candle, dusted off his clothes, and straightened up. None other than the islander swindler Monet. Amon? What? You steal from me and then try to kill me in the catacombs? Bro, I thought we were homies and you do this shit? Dude, if Hela legitimately joined the a tarot club, that'd be so based. Although I guess I say the same about Sharon, so yeah, can't have everything. What a coincidence, Monet smiled. Oh, you want me to get... I keep it on deck at all times, boys. This shit just sits here. Well, hello, distinguished gentlemen. Scallywag, empty thy pockets. Sorry, I can't. I'm a genuinely unserious person. What a coincidence, Monet smiled at Lumin and Hela. Empty the compartments of thy pantaloons. So, good sir, you wish to engage in fisticuffs, is that it? I should warn you. My appendages are registered as lethal weapons. Damn it, Lumin couldn't help but curse inwardly when he saw Monet, a mix of anger and fear washing over him. Why is it him again? Why did he appear right now? What is he up to? Who are you? Hela asked coldly. Like you guys, a tomb adventurer. A tomb adventurer? You make grave robbing sound so honorable. Madame Justice once said that the higher one sequence, the more dangerous it is. Therefore, the angel Monet believes in can't provide him any assistance here. The saints and godhood in Saudabal Unique don't enter here. Meaning, if Madame Hela and I join forces, there's a good chance we can keep Monet here forever. The fear in his heart dissipated, the dangerous thoughts of using this opportunity to eliminate the swindler. Lumin smiled. Tomb adventurer. Do you know this place well? Of course, Monet smiled. He raised his right hand and pointed to an ancient tomb at the edge of the Candelight's range. That place belongs to a member of the 4th Epoch Zoroaster family. Immediately after, pointed to another tomb. That's a member of the Jacob family, a member of the Abraham family, a member of the Blood Legion. Unfortunately, there are no characteristics left behind here. Yeah, as if Amon would just let members of the Zoroastrian Jacob family keep their fucking characteristics. There's a reason they don't exist anymore, okay? Lumine's surprise and puzzlement grew as he realized the islander swindler genuinely answered his question. It even raised even more. Whose tomb is that? He cautiously pointed to the tomb from where Monet emerged. A member of the Fourth Epoch's Amon family! Let's go! The swindler's knowledge of this Fourth Epoch families and Catacomb 4th level is far more extensive than what it should have been. Is far more than what it is written on the road signs. Then do you know where the Samaritan Women's Spring is? Hela spoke. Why should I tell you? What reward do you offer? Why should we believe you have the location in the first place? Lumine asked. I really don't know. The Women's Spring isn't that impressive. It seems to come from an ancient book I once read, but after coming here several times I discovered strange phenomena. Some occasionally animated bones will gather in this area, enter a tomb and never come out. The undead animated by the environment will be affected by the tomb's abnormality and drawn to it? Or is that the Samaritan Women's Spring? By the way, is the music... I feel like the music is too loud, right? Is this better? I feel like it was too loud. Monet, the islander swindler, voluntarily disclosed such crucial information without payment. Lag? Should just be you, Kami, I think. Any anomaly that occurred meant something was wrong. This was out of character for Monet. Either Monet was luring him and Hela into an ancient tomb where the undead gathered, hoping to lead them to a trap, or he was using them as scouts to scout a dangerous territory. Both possibilities equally plausible. That's all I know, Monet said. I'll search the other tombs. If you can find the so-called Samaritan Women's Spring, remember to leave a note for me in the tomb of the Amon family member. Tell me what's so special about it. As he spoke, he advanced to Lumion. In Lumine's tense state, he poised to attack at a moment's notice. The islander sidestepped him and headed for the distant tomb. He's left. Lumion remained vigilant. The inevitability angel remained silent, seemingly unperturbed by Monet. Hela took a few steps back and positioned herself beside the ancient tomb. Confronted by the pale white bones at the entrance, Hela raised her right hand. As if pulled by an invisible thread, the bones converged, morphing into a swaying humanoid skeleton. Hela refrained from issuing commands to the undead creature she had summoned. She's off the death pathway. Observing coldly as it slowly departed from the tomb. Is Hela from the corpse collector pathway? Or does she possess a corresponding item? Lumion roughly discerned Hela's intentions, intending on utilizing the undead creature's characteristic, the automatic attraction to the problematic tomb to chart course. The most probable anomaly in this area was the Samaritan Women's Spring. Holding the candle, the pair followed the skeleton. Suddenly another figure emerged from the shadows. A crystal monocle adorned his right eye. Monet once again. Is the Women's Spring interesting? Can I accompany you? Monet asked. You didn't ask before. Lumion's killing intent surging. We haven't even located it yet. How would we know? Why don't you conceal yourself in the shadows, await the completion of our exploration, and confirm any danger or traps before venturing forth? That way the risk would be lower. Even if we succeed, we wouldn't be able to remove the spring in its entirety. You make a valid point, Monet said. The swindler grinned and retreated to the shadows once more. He's genuinely just taking the piss. Lumion couldn't decipher Monet's intentions. He glanced at Hela and noticed that she was sipping liquor again, but her complexion had a pallid, almost bluish hue. You have any idea what's up with these monocle-wearing folks? It's tied to the Fourth Epoch's Amon family, she spoke. Let's go. Let's go. The goat finally gets a mention. Only took 300 and how many chapters? 351 chapters for the actual MC to get a mention. Let's go. The fourth Epoch's Amont family. They control the Marauder pathway. Seeing that Hela wasn't inclined to share more, Lumion had no choice but to keep silent and follow. Monet's reappearance pushed aside any thoughts of idle chatter to ease his restlessness. As they proceeded, the candles held by Lumion and Hela took on a faint, eerie shade. The resurrected skeleton turned into a massive, decaying tomb with a partially open stone door. Lumion's spirit soared, sensing what was ahead was the women's spring. At that moment, another figure poked its head. Monet once more. Do you have any messages for your families or friends? I can convey them. Lumion was so startled that he couldn't help but contain the urge to strike down Monet right there. No, Hela replied icily. Nor do I, Lumion exhaled slowly and said. What a shame. Monet returned to the tunnel. He's genuinely just taking... Hello, good sir. In the event that you should perish in this noble endeavor, how should I inform your next of kin? The yellow candlelight flickered once more, indicating that he hadn't gone far away, but was waiting nearby. He was asking if they should eliminate the islander in advance. Hela remained silent before shaking her head. We'll leave as soon as we obtain the women's spring. She intended to stay focused on their objective and avoid stirring trouble. Yes, once I've collected the spring, I'll teleport away with Madame Hela. Back to Vanitas? Sounds good. After some time, the skeleton hadn't emerged. Cautiously, they entered the massive tomb. At that moment, a raspy, elderly voice spoke. Halt. Within the perimeters of the yellowish candlelight, a figure trembled into view. Jesus. A figure staggered out from the depths of the tomb. As the figure entered the range of the candles, it seemed uncomfortable with the light, raising its right hand to shield himself from the glare. Similar to the administrator, the figure wore a blue shirt and yellow pants, but his face wore deep wrinkles and light brown patches. For some inexplicable reason, Lumion found it challenging to discern the features of the aged tomb administrator. His form seemed to blur at the edges, blending seamlessly with the surroundings. In a hoarse voice, like that of a corpse, he uttered, "Get out of here." Since it's open for viewing, there shouldn't be any restricted areas, Lumion retorted. "Get out of here," the administrator repeated. Lumion turned to Hela, hoping she may succeed. If that failed, he was prepared to take a more direct action. The spell of Harumph was perfectly suited for such tasks. Hela shook her head and began exiting the tomb. Deep underground, near the arcade of the Opera House, Franka gazed at the entrustee. What kind of deal? I'll increase the reward to 50,000, go to the quarry and create a huge commotion, exposing the secret. If you're willing, you can sign the contract. I have a way to ensure the contract's binding powers on both parties. 50,000 to create an explosion? Why seek us out for such a straightforward task? With a gentle movement, Franka produced a fist-sized grayish-white cloth bag and tossed it to the shadows beside her, assuming a guarded posture against the man. Help me find my seal. Seal? Jenna materialized from the shadows and caught the bag, hearing the metallic clinks. Isn't the bag supposed to be filled with coins and the ring of punishment? What are the specific terms of the contract? Franka smiled. She sensed the possibility that the other party may manipulate the contract using powers from corresponding domains. Franka had a plan to attack before committing to any contract. Capture him, clarify the terms, then consider whether to sign. What do we do now? Lumion asked. Grab my right arm. Hela's voice, colder than before. Lumion roughly grasped her thoughts and quickly complied, reaching out to firmly grasp her right hand. Almost instantaneously, Hela twirled the black diamond ring on her middle finger. Almost instantaneously, Lumion felt a profound shift. He was no longer in the same world as the tomb entrance. Surveying the surroundings, he noticed that everything had become hazy and shrouded in fog. Guided by Hela, Lumion moved cautiously through the thick fog, one step at a time. There was no movement in the depths of the tomb, and the two of them slowly advanced. Before long, within the limited visibility, he spotted a rotting coffin. The aged administrator lay motionless in the coffin, his eyes wide open, devoid of life. In this foggy state, the administrator seemed to pay them no mind, allowing Lumion and Hela to pass by as they headed. There, they found a gentle downward slope leading to an unknown location. Hela gestured for Lumion to release the grip. Standing at the top of the slope, Lumion held a candle flame in his hand, illuminating the path lined with scattered bones, the enigmatic concealment dissipating. The unsettling chill emanated from the depths of his heart, stifling his emotions and desire. Yet the unshakable anger and malice of wanting to snap a neck remained. He couldn't help but glance at Hela, who downed another flask of whiskey in one go. "Are you alright?" Lumion asked. "I'm fine, for now. I've made preparations to deal with this. As long as I don't linger for long, I should be fine." "How long can you stay?" "About half an hour," Hela replied. Beginning to descend, Lumion planned to grab Hela's arm and use the spirit world traversal to force her out. Descending deeper, the slope became littered with more bones, gradually taking on complete and original forms. The skeleton Hela had awakened earlier knelt on one knee on the slope. As they continued, Lumion noticed a thin grayish-white fog up ahead. "Is there a problem?" Lumion asked. "It's very dangerous. I've prepared as best I can, but I don't know if it'll work." Lumion listened to Hela's response and observed the grayish-white fog and recognized it. The same fog that shrouded Cordu's ruins. The fog that provided protection when I prayed for boons. Sephora Castle? The fuck? In that moment, Lumion realized the true reason behind Madame Justice's insistence that he accompany Madame Hela. He cautiously extended his right palm to the grey fog, and as they touched, he felt a warmth in his heart. He knew the Fool's Seal had been activated. He pushed forward, his right palm passing through the greyish-white fog without encountering any danger or abnormality. With newfound confidence, he couldn't help but think, "Praise the Fool." After a brief prayer, Lumion turned to Hela. "I've also made the necessary preparations. They seem effective. I'll grab your arm." Hela didn't inquire any further, allowing him to grab her left arm. They ventured deeper into the grey fog. They didn't even need to hold hands. Lumion just liked being close to her, okay? The surroundings grew even quieter, and an unusual, almost palpable aura seemed to fill the air. The sound of water. Lumion felt a surge of excitement. The spring was likely nearby. They continued to move forward, and as they did, the fog dissipated rapidly, revealing a pond-sized spring. Around the spring, a dark substance of indescribable color encircled the pale white water. In the water, wet, black seaweed like hair floated. A few vague figurines struggled to crawl out from the depths. A woman stood beside the spring. The white-robed figure Lumion had seen earlier, suspected to be a high-rank demoness. Her face was white and translucent, her bones scattered around her. Suddenly, a pale white water receded with a splash, leaving behind a pitch-black hole that seemed to defy the presence of light. With another splash, the water surged from the black hole, filling the pond again. This time, dimmer, less pale, appearing to be empty and dark. In an instant, the water blended with the surrounding greyish fog, restoring its original appearance. In this place, their memories began to blur as if they were fading. In a hurry, Lumion reached into his pocket. What am I putting on? Intending to retrieve the metal canister he had placed to contain the spring water, but he touched something stone-like, something he had never put into his pocket. Lumion retracted his hand in surprise and saw a brown stone in his palm, a stone riddled with potholes, each filled with dark speckled spots. The earth blood ore that he had previously lost. Monet! Oh, it's so clever. Oh, it's so clever. He stole it so that Lumion wouldn't think about it, and that Termibors wouldn't warn him of any dangers. And then when he approached him, when Lumion halted him, he slipped it back into his pocket. He went, "Oh, let's see what happens." The goat. Why is it in my possession? This is a part of underground Trier. As Lumion's pupils dilated, a terrifying aura emanated from the dark hole that swallowed the pale water once again. The mere presence of this aura froze Lumion and Hela. The suspected high-ranking demoness raised its palm and touched its right eye. Or beside the suspected high-ranking demoness, a skeleton raised its right palm and touched its right eye. Simultaneously, it bared its white teeth and emanated a delighted laugh. You've already obtained it. How can you not give it a try? Around the spring, other skeletons joined in, opening their mouths and producing the same voice. You've already obtained it. How can you not give it a try? Oh, he's so evil, bro. He's so evil. You've already obtained it. How can you not give it a try? The ghastly white skeleton stared at Lumion. The dark water, not pale enough, gushed from the dark hole and filled a small pond. Compared to before, there was an additional figure in the water. Thank you, Kami. Whoa, this is a new song. That can't be a good sign. The figure seemed to be engulfed in an intense inferno, almost colorless flames covering his body. Despite occupying a corner of the spring, Lumion froze in fear. It was abnormally huge. Within the intangible flames, the figure revealed long, blood-colored hair. Its sculpted face was marred with decay and pus. Why do I think this is Einhorn Sauron Medici? Red hair, underground Trier. I mean, the face doesn't obviously make any sense, but its iron black eyes seemed rusted, emanating a sinister blood-red glow. Yellowish magma dripping from the figure's body. As the Samaritan women's spring surged again, the dense white bones that had made the sound fell silent. Seeing the decomposing monster-like figure, the stench of blood and rust intensified. Lumion's mind was tinged with a madness that yearned to destroy everything. Oh yeah, okay, it's a high-ranking member of the Hunter pathway for sure. If he hadn't been on the brink of death, his thoughts completely stalled, he might have lost his mind. He would lose control at any moment. In any case, he stood frozen in place as if facing his most fearful natural enemy. All he knew was to tremble, forget to resist, and forget to escape. The highly decayed figure enshrouded in intangible flames entered the pitch-black cave, determined to reach the edge of the women's spring. It reached out its palm, dripping with a faint yellowish-red liquid. The spring water surged and a faint fog gathered, preventing the figure, which appeared as massive as a mountain. A low growl escaped the figure, and its iron-black eyes emitting a corrupting redness. Under this influence, Lumion's mind buzzed and it went blank. Although the terrifying figure couldn't break free from the spring's constraints, it successfully blocked the spring's water's retreat into the dark hole. And simultaneously, the decayed figure within the spring surged towards the shore. Among them, there was a woman filled with pus, exuding a serene knight-like temperance. A decaying corpse adorned with a golden crown. an iron-colored skeleton sprouting greasy feathers, a figure entwined with countless shattered maggots. The white-robed woman lingering around the Samaritan women's spring was intensely ensnared by the long black hair. Lumin's body grew colder and his thoughts went blank. Melodious singing and chanting echoed from afar, soothing the area. The blurry and shadowy figures no longer displayed the same level of madness, as if pacified. The terrifying palms that clutched Lumin's feet and froze his spirit retracted. The black hair that tugged at his body lost its vitality and fell. The figure, suspected to be a demoness lingering about, came to a halt. Even the most terrifying and frenzied figure slowed down, his aura weakening. Lumin snapped out of his daze and looked. It was the thief who had stolen the Earth Blood ore, none other than Monet. This guy... What is happening? Monet had deliberately orchestrated an coincidental encounter with him on the 4th level. Using his skills, he serendipitously returned the ore, enabling Lumin to bring the ore to the women's spring without detection. Lumin had never intended to take the ore underground, deeming it too dangerous. Monet's theft and return had been a passive way to provoke the encounter. As for Monet's motives, Lumin knew he might only uncover them after this ordeal concluded. Lumin reached for Hela's arm, intending to activate his contract mark and escape. In the process, to rid himself of the Earth Blood ore, hoping to distract the crazed figure. However, the blood ore appeared to be affected by the abnormal environment, showing signs of deterioration. Silently, it crumbled and dissolved into the air. Meanwhile, the flames of the white candle Hela held flickered, on the brink of extinguishing. The diamond ring on her hand emanated a profound darkness. After grasping her arm, Lumin realized they were frozen. The area seemed to be cut off from the spirit world. I can't escape. Lumin retracted his hand and addressed the fiery figure. Ha! A pale yellow beam emerged from his mouth, striking the mountain-like figure. The figure swayed but remained unharmed. Receiving the new command, the bizarre figures, previously calmed by the tranquil light, trembled, extending their decaying or repulsive hands once again, clutching at Lumin's feet. The black hair rose again. Realizing evasion was futile, Lumin's body erupted in flames. The pale white, pus-colored hand was the first to seize Lumin's right foot, silencing him. The highly decayed hand, the iron-colored skeleton adorned with yellow feathers and the form intertwined with maggots, fulfilled their tasks once again. They dragged Lumin, who appeared as if in a trance with wide-open eyes, towards the Samaritan spring. Hela found herself encircled by layers of long black hair, piercing through the tranquility of night. Lumin stared vacantly at the rigid, decomposing countenance, and his iron-black eyes tinged with blood. His body grew more rigid, and the purplish-red livor mortis emerged on his flesh. He was now just a step away from the spring. At that moment, the spring, which had been held at bay by the figure, finally surged forward, breaking through the barrier, sweeping all figures, including the colossal one engulfed in flames. The colossal figure emitted a furious roar, but helpless against the relentless flow of the spring water, vanishing into the depths of the abyss. Lumin woke up and spotted the white-robed woman lingering nearby. He swiftly turned around and sprinted to the crest of the slope. His plan was straightforward. Since the abnormality stemmed from the Earth Blood ore, which had melted, he needed to seize this chance to escape. It was not the time to collect the water. As long as he could make his getaway before the water surged again and the menacing figure resurfaced, Hela would be safer left behind. She could gather the water calmly and share it with him later. To escape, given that teleportation has failed, his legs were now his sole option. True, fuck him. As Lumin ran, he readied himself for any potential setback. I'm kidding, of course. Hela should be protected, okay? My queen. Harnessing his pyromaniac abilities, he steadied the flame of the white candles and retrieved the boxing gloves from his bag. Concurrently, he attempted to invoke the Fool's name. The Fool that doesn't belong to this era. The inspiration was triggered by the greyish-white fog enveloping the Samaritan women's spring. Midway through his invocation, Lumin heard the sound of the spring water surging, faster than he expected. The growl steeped into the scent of the blood and rust. Unaware of Lumin's thought process, Hela's body shuddered, as if transformed from an emotionless corpse into a frightened living creature. Out of the corner of her eye, she caught sight of the colossal, invisible, flame-shrouded man. Lumion too was taken aback, an inclination of surrendering and give up resistance. He strained to endure, unable to continue invoking the honorific name. If he could hold out just a little longer, the hidden evil gods may direct their attention towards him because of the material of the boxing gloves, sending forth dangerous creatures to influence or assail him. In the past, Lumion had prayed for the impending abnormality to remain manageable, but now he hoped the more dangerous, the better. Only by muddying the waters would a fish have a chance to escape. True. Actually, it reasonably makes sense. The warlock-dressed man spoke to Franca. Fuck off, Franca! God damn it, Jesus! It is simple. There are only 3 terms in the contract. First, you two must promise to blow up the hidden door of the Circuit Valley quarry, creating a commotion that will attract everyone. Second, I'll pay you both 50,000 Vraldor with an advance of 20,000. Thirdly, you'll face consequences if you don't uphold your end of the bargain. This restriction applies to both parties. The man had no intention of deceiving the two Beyonders. Instead, he planned to use his abilities to modify the mission's content the moment the contract was established, forcing them to infiltrate the quarry and retrieve what he wanted. This entrustee had once purchased a human soul for 1,000 Vraldor using this ability. As Franca conversed with the man, Jenna hid in the shadows, reaching into the small bag of money and stroked the gold, silver, and copper coins inside. There was no seal in the bag, or rather, Franca didn't have a seal. What does she mean? If she wanted to strike a deal, why not apply for notarization at the gathering just now? If he were afraid that the contents of the commission would be exposed, he would have gone to the conversation room and borrowed the host's item. Something is off. Jenna understood why Franca tossed her the bag. As soon as she realized it, she was to immediately use the Ring of Punishment to attack the other party and take control. Jenna exhaled slowly and put on the Ring of Punishment, using the shadows to close the distance between herself and the entrustee. That sounds reasonable, but I need to confirm if you're lying and if there's a problem with this matter, Franca said. Coincidentally, I'm skilled in divination. Upon hearing this, the warlock's pupils dilated. He wasn't sure if magic mirror divination could expose his scheme. Hidden in the shadows, Jenna detected his abnormality and without hesitation raised her right hand slightly, causing the iron-colored ring covered in spikes to glow. Fuck me. Simultaneously, the 2 bolts of lightning shot out from her eyes. Psychic piercing! At the women's spring, Lumion and Hela, once again gripped by the horrifying terror, consumed by the madness, stood frozen. While this madness immobilized them, it paradoxically spared them from imminent death. Their frozen bodies burned with an intense heat and their dormant thoughts ignited with a fury. However, their purplish-red liver mortis and the decaying skin continued to worsen. Darkness descended once more, and Hela used the black ring on her right hand to try and pacify the spectral figures hovering near the women's spring. Lumion recollected his thoughts and realized that his escape with Hela had not been in vain. They had distanced themselves more than 10 meters from the spring and the decaying figures. These figures clustered at the spring's edge, their eyes vacant. Their heavily decayed or distorted hands occasionally reached out from the water, only to be pulled back. Silently, they emitted roars that made the entire slope tremble, inducing drowsiness and feelings of submission. However, the madness that had ignited their thoughts and strange effects that led to their dissociative identity disorder failed to take hold. Around the spring, only the lingering female figure on the black hair resembling seaweed could approach Lumion. Lumion was relieved. Even if his resistance failed, he'd be dragged into the spring by the long hair, and the figure suspected to be a demoness. With more than 10 minutes to cover, he had a chance to hold on until the water overcame the terrifying figure once more. When that moment arrived, he could escape. In 2 or 3 attempts, he could exit the area. Later, he would send Hela inside to retrieve the spring, avoiding the adverse reaction caused by the by the blood-colored ore. But in the next moment, Lumion's body froze involuntarily. White frost appeared and vanished. In the eyes of the blue woman, Lumion was now imprisoned in ice. The long black hair coiled tighter around him, dragging him to the women's spring. Seeing Lumion in peril, Hela, who had been relatively unaffected, aimed her right hand at the unknown entity. Using the black diamond ring on her hand and emitted a constant darkness, the night transformed into a shroud, enshrouding the other party and inducing slumber. Ah, she has something from the Evernight pathway. Cool. Lumion seized this opportunity to release a harumph, channeling a white scream of light through his nose into the crystalline ice that bound him. The hair that ensnared him lost its strength. Suddenly, the curtain of night that enshrouded the entity constricted. Not far, the woman in the white robe appeared, her eyes fixed on Lumion. Though danger still loomed, Lumion felt a surge of relief, believing that even if he stopped resisting, he could hold on till the pale white spring water withdrew. At that moment, the eyes of the figure floating in the spring grew wilder. He tugged violently at the spring water, trying to break free from his chains. Finally, the figure draped in the blood-colored armor reached the end of the Samaritan women's spring. The ground quaked, sending grayish-white dust raining down. Lumion's mind buzzed and he blacked out. When he regained consciousness, he found himself at the edge of the women's spring, having covered over 10 meters in an instant. From the corner of his eyes, he saw Hela rushing towards him, her eyes vacant and bloodshot, resembling a puppet. Lumion could already guess that when he closed his eyes. He had returned to the spring's edge. At this moment, he couldn't flee. Behind him were the coiling black hair and the figure suspected to be a demoness. In front of him was the grotesque, decaying, repulsive palms. They clawed at Lumion, intent on dragging him down. Gritting his teeth, Lumion seized the chance to bite the base of the white candle and reach into his pocket. As he did, he cursed. "You dog-shit evil gods have been observing me for so long. Why not send something? Where are those promised dangerous creatures? Are you afraid to confront that insane figure?" Lumion drew a dagger and was about to cleave his right palm, which had been corroded by the earth blood ore. "If you want it, take it." As for whether the 6 a.m. reboot would cause his missing hand to regenerate, he didn't care at this point. At that moment, the pale white hand emerged, and the pitch-black hole at the depths of the spring trembled. The figures of the hands were slender, and the cracks running along its back. As palms emerged, it crossed the barrier of the spring water and seized the right leg of the colossal figure. The figure swayed uncontrollably as if pulled towards the pitch-black abyss. It struggled and resisted with all its might, but the palms remained relentless. The only response was the falling of the light-colored feathers, pus-stained with blood. Countless complex symbols, pale white, pitch-black, or dim, appeared, frenzied. Lumion couldn't witness the scene, nor could he see what was happening. All he knew was the figure was moving away from him. The terrifying hands that had grabbed him stopped moving. The crazed figure growled repeatedly, but he couldn't break free. In the blink of an eye, most of its body had been dragged back to the depths of the spring. Just as it was about to disappear, its madness materialized. The 2 rust spots shot out of the iron-black eyes and darted to Lumion. Instinctively, Lumion raised his right hand to block. The 2 rust marks pierced through the boxing gloves and into his skin, which had been corroded. The pale white water receded entirely, pulling all of the floating figurines into the abyss. The vicinity of the spring fell eerily silent. Last chapter, let's go. No. Hey, we've been streaming for like 2 hours now, okay? That's pretty good. Come on. 4 days streaming back to back, okay? And we covered like 40 chapters in that time, roughly, okay? Cut me some slack too, boys. In the midst of the eerie silence, Lumen sensed an unusual heat in his palm. Aside from this, nothing appeared. Given the circumstance, Lumen couldn't afford a detailed examination. Ignoring the cold creeping through his body, he retreated to reassess the situation. Indistinct figures and the long, weed-like hair submerged in the water. The white-robed, corpse-like lady that had lingered had vanished into thin air. This sight sparked a daring idea. Seeing the figure pulled back into the fountain, one in fierce resistance and the other trying to suppress it, it seemed an unlikely victor would quickly emerge. Lumen decided to stay vigilant, pause his escape, and explore the possibility of setting a trap. The water ghosts were nowhere to be found at the spring's bottom. Nor were there any blurry figures lingering nearby. In the next instant, Lumen noticed Hela produce a golden bottle adorned with intricate mystical symbols. Hela didn't wait for the water to surge, squatted down and pressed the bottle to the opening of the damp soil. The soil was dark-colored, and the closer they got to it, the more it seemed to contain countless colors. The soil, dark and filled with countless colors, near the pitch-black hole, dried up as the pale water spring receded. However, the periphery remained slightly moist, producing droplets that were more tangible than the pale water spring. Sensing that Hela's target was the liquid, Lumen asked, "Weren't you going to wait for the water to resurface?" This is the true spring water. The pale water is too dangerous to touch right now. Contact with it means instant death, wandering forever near the spirit or its source. Our containers are no exception. Jesus! The women's spring is a byproduct of the pale white water and not its true form? With just one drop, the canister showed signs of rust and decay from prolonged submersion. Without a word, Hela produced a golden canister, engraved in intricate symbols, and tossed it to Lumen. Only then did Lumen manage to collect the women's spring. As long as the earth-shaking tremor ceased, he planned to make a hasty retreat with the water they had collected. Lumen watched the sluggish progress, concerned that the pale white water may resurface. Hence, he cursed. Drip, drip. He filled only a third of the bottle when Hela decided to stop and seal the golden canister. They mustn't be greedy. Together, they sprinted to the edge of the summit. Before long, the sound of the water echoed behind them. Once more, the pale white water resurfaced. Without looking back, they continued to sprint through the grayish fog as if relentless, intangible monsters pursued them. So you're saying Klein, or Klein probably, is like protecting that water from like hurting more people with Sephira Castle's aura to constrict it? The go. And fighting a great old one at the same time? Exiting the shroud of the grayish-white fog, Lumen finally breathed a sigh of relief, the coldness in his body abating. Psychic piercing! Jenna emerged from the shadows, her eyes crackling with lightning. The man in the warlock robe heard a surreal crack and felt a surge of pain in his body. Instinctively, he crumpled to the ground. Franco wasted no time to seize the moment and pointed the mirror at him. Demoness's curse. Black flames erupted from the man's body, weakening his spirit. Soon after, crystalline ice encased him layer by layer, revealing his true form. Franco's intention was to restrain him, not kill him. Seeing the man weaken, hastily restrained, Franco whispered, "That's it?" The man struggled to speak and said, "You're committing a crime!" As soon as he finished speaking, a violent tremor emanated from deep underground. A rock from the tunnel ceiling plummeted to Jenna's head. Jenna rolled to dodge, but still felt the impact of the falling debris. Franca faced a similar predicament. She sensed that if this continued, the tunnel may collapse. Without hesitation, she clenched her right hand, reigniting the remaining black flames. The black flames engulfed the man's body, and the warlock-dressed man met his end. Damn. Oof. The tunnel tremor ceased immediately, leaving nothing. Franca breathed a sigh of relief and wasted no time, set up a spirit channeling ritual, while Jenna kept a vigilant eye for passerbys. "How much do you know about the secrets of the Deep Valley Quarry?" she asked with arrogance. "Some seek to use machinery to prolong their lives, and others seek machinery to acquire life. A portion of the Deep Valley Cloister is sliding into the abyss. Which organization are you from? Why are you exploding the gatekeeper's disappearance? Just as the man was about to respond, an ever-changing fog enveloped the mirror. Crack. And the mirror in Franca's hand shattered. The man, encased in ice and spider silk, exploded, his flesh disintegrating into mist. What the fuck? Almost simultaneously, Franca shattered the mirror, breaking it into fragments. As expected, something is wrong, Franca said solemnly. By that point, the corpse had transformed into a pile of minced meat. Franca and Jenna conducted a simple search and found a brass key worth 200 to 300 for a door. Brass key? We got like the same thing in Lord of the Mysteries. Something from the apprentice pathway allows you to enter doors or whatever, but it makes you get lost. That was the thing, right? Approximately 2 or 3 minutes later, a pair of legs clad in knee-length brown boots materialize beside the puddle of flesh and blood. The scorching sunlight bathed the entrance to the catacombs, and Lumion felt as though he had returned from the kingdom of the dead to the world of the living. Turning to Hela, whose pale white complexion and purplish-red livor mortis and signs of decay had yet to heal, he smiled. Even though it wasn't a real battle, it's the closest I've come to death. Those who can retain a mark in the pale white spring for a long time were once formidable individuals. What's the purpose of the spring? You can't actually use it to forget the past and the pain, can you? No. For me, it can serve as a replacement for a certain ritual, or rather, become a central element for another one. Lumion didn't get the entire concept, but didn't press any further. But soon he noticed that the residual chills in his body hadn't completely vanished as he thought. While it had mostly dissipated, it still seemed to linger. The abnormality is still within our bodies, Lumion reminded Hela. I have a solution. The one who tasked you with this should have a solution as well. Lumion acknowledged her words and bade farewell to Hela, making his way to the public carriage stop. Compared to the abnormality of gradually dying, he was more concerned of the earth blood ore that had corroded his palm and the bizarre rust. Let's go! Oh, God. 2 demonesses violently kill a passerby. I know. He was being so nice, too. Yeah, I'm sure they are, Kami. We'll find out later, okay? I'm sure they are. Come on, we did like 10 chapters, okay? You guys can't possibly... Fuck you, okay? We did 10 chapters. You can fuck right off. I'm taking nothing from you today, okay? Fuck you. Alright, boys. We'll end it there. Y'all have a good rest of your day or nights. And I'll catch y'all... What the fuck is an even 13, Hope? What is it, even 13? Yeah, cut that for me. Fucking idiot. Alright, bye boys. I'll catch y'all later. That's it.